Vibrant friends. This is Vic with Vibrant with Vic, and I'm really excited to be here on Virtual Veg Fest Live. So today it is Thursday, and I'm really excited to be joining you. So remember, we can do these practices from our office. It is around lunchtime on the East Coast, and in other parts of the world, it's different times. It's wake up in yoga on the West Coast. So if you're in your office, you don't need to have any special attire here. You can just wear whatever you're wearing. If you have a mat, you can roll that out. If you have a chair, you can use that. We'll be standing and we'll be sitting either on the ground or in a chair as we go through our practice today. I want to thank our sponsor, Rebel Cheese. Please check out virtualvegfestlive.com. We have some great contests there. And check me out if you want to see more videos. If you want to participate in my live online classes, I'm at vibrantwithvic.com. And all of this information is scrolling below, so you can see it whenever you want. So let's get started. I'm really excited to share your yoga practice with you today. So let's come to your seat. If you have a mat and you want to be on the floor or the ground, come on down. If you just want to sit on the floor in your office, that's great too. If you want, and you are on a chair, for the first part, we can sit up against the back of the chair, getting really comfortable. You can even do this practice lying down at the beginning. You can do it sitting up against a wall. Or if you don't have anything to support your back, like the floor or a wall or a chair, grabbing a blanket can be extremely helpful. Sitting up on the edge of the blanket can help tilt the pelvis forward to allow us to sit up tall as we go through the beginning of this practice. So a couple things to remind you about me. I love to incorporate psychological principles with yoga poses to tend to the physical body, the mental body, and the emotional body. So remember, every day is different. So what you could do yesterday might be a little bit different than you feel like doing today, and the same thing with tomorrow. Your left side might be different than your right side. And obviously my body is different than your body. So everything I do is merely a suggestion. If it doesn't feel good to you, please don't do it. Please come out of any pose where you feel any type of pain or strain and come to something that's more comfortable. Maybe that means just backing out of the pose a little bit. Maybe that means coming into another pose altogether. That could be a resting pose of just lying on your back or just sitting upright. So whatever feels good to you, making sure that you tend to your body and listen to it today. The mental body, psychology tells us that we have thousands upon thousands of thoughts, and those thoughts are usually just on repeat, and often they don't serve us. So being mindful of what is going on in our brains at any given time can be really hard. So one of the things that yoga teaches us is how to be mindful, paying attention to the present moment on purpose without judgment, non-judgmental awareness. Unfortunately, a lot of those thoughts that go on in our mind are judgments, usually about ourselves, sometimes about others. So the more we learn to catch ourselves in these repetitive thoughts that don't serve us, the more we can train our mind to come back to the present, to come back to more positive thoughts that we choose. So tending to the mind as well as tending to the body. And lastly, tending to that emotional center, that heart. Sometimes when people do yoga, they notice that emotions rise up within them. If they don't, that's great. But if they do, just letting them rise up and out. Emotions are just energy in motion, and we often don't want to be with our emotions because they don't feel good sometimes. But sitting in them can help them just move up and out. And maybe you'll have some positive emotions too as we go through this, like joy that we'll want to invite back into our lives at a later state when we want to get that peace. So just listening to your own body as we go through this practice. So let's begin. So thinking about where we are making contact with some object, if we're sitting on a chair, if we're sitting on the ground, lying on the ground, notice where our body is making contact. Think about grounding in there strongly. If you are sitting, think about the energy coming up through the spine, stacking one vertebra at a time on top of each other, maybe rolling the shoulder blades down the back a few times, maybe moving the neck a little bit here, side to side, just some intuitive movements here before we come into stillness for a few breaths. And as the energy flows up, think about a long neck, maybe tucking the chin a little bit, crown of the head towards the top of the sky, opening up that proud chest. Maybe you want to bring your thumb and index finger together and set them down on your legs in a gesture of grounding, or up in a gesture of receiving, whatever feels good to you today. Thinking about engaging that strong core space, if that feels good in your practice today. So Mula Bandha, pelvic floor muscles, squeezing those like we're stopping ourselves from going to the bathroom, can be very beneficial. Your core, squeezing belly button to spine. And this will fall in and out of engagement, both of these, as we go through our practice, as we go through life. So if you just want to consider, when you notice that they've fallen out, to bring them back in, and you don't have to worry about releasing them because they'll release naturally. Okay, so closing your eyes here or casting them gently downward allows us to go inside and tuning in now to what our body is doing. Notice if it's telling us anything. Notice what our breath is doing. This might be the first time that you've sat in silence today and really gone inward, practicing this mindfulness, paying attention on purpose to the present moment without judgment. And notice if those breaths that you're taking are in the chest or in the belly. Notice if they're quick or shallow, and shallow, or deeper. Oftentimes we are in a state of sympathetic nervous system arousal and we do not even know it, where we're taking short, shallow breaths. So no judgment to that. But now inviting the breath to go deeper into the belly. And slowing it down a bit. Maybe making the exhales a little bit longer than the inhales can also help invite that parasympathetic nervous system response, that rest and digest. So if you know the 3-part breath, you can go into it here. It's like filling up a pitcher of water. We fill from the bottom, middle, and top. And we exhale from the top, middle, and bottom. So inviting that breath deeper into the belly button expands, the rib cage expands, the proud chest expands. And exhale, chest falls, rib cage comes in, and belly button comes more towards the spine. Slowing that breath, inviting that parasympathetic nervous system response to calm us. And maybe incorporating those 3 intelligence centers, or 3 parts of the body that I discussed earlier. Maybe breathing deeply and thinking about it as breathing into the belly or the body center, up into the chest or the heart center, and then all the way up, bringing the breath all the way up into the mind or the head center. And exhaling head, heart, belly. Maybe trying that deeper breath all the way up from the tail to the crown on the inhale and the exhale. And as you continue to sit here breathing, maybe consider our quote for the day. With all that's going on in the world, you can't always control what goes on outside, but you can always control what goes on inside. You can't always control what goes on outside, but you can always control what goes on inside. So maybe as we're going through this practice today, consider how you can bring more calm inside in moments of stress outside. Perhaps that's just tuning into your breath as an anchor. In breath and out breath when you notice the pull of the outside world. Or maybe it's coming back to a word or phrase like peace or love. I am strong. I've got this. Whatever resonates with you to support your inner world of peace and strength. And keeping your eyes closed or downcast, bringing your attention to your senses can also help ground you in times when your life feels a bit out of control. So bringing your attention to your skin and notice what is making contact with your skin, whether it be furniture or ground or clothes or the temperature of the air, just picking out different things that are making contact with your skin. And noticing your nose and any fragrances that might be in the air. And then your ears. How many distinct sounds can you pick out around you? And taking a few more deep breaths here. When you're ready, gently lifting your gaze or fluttering your eyes open and looking around your environment. See what your eyes are drawn to. Maybe noticing something that brings you joy. Noticing that feeling in your body when you look at it because of what it is or what or who it reminds you of. And knowing that you can conjure up that feeling of joy or happiness whenever life's struggles start to get in the way. And when you're ready, gently moving off if you were sitting on anything on the floor. If you're sitting in a chair, coming to the edge of the chair, maybe shaking your legs out. If your legs were crossed and you want to cross them again, bringing them in the opposite way, if you can remember what that was, crossing them in the opposite way. And if that feels good to your body. We'll start out with the Sufi grind. So circling around those hips with your torso at whatever pace feels good to you. Inhaling as you move forward and open up that belly, and exhaling as you move backwards, pulling the belly button to the spine. Notice what parts of your body are getting involved. You want to add your neck or more of your shoulders. No right or wrong, just listening to your body. And the next time you come to the back, reversing directions. And slowly unwinding as we make our way to an upright position. Sitting tall, engaging Mula Bandha, engaging that core, shoulders come down away from the ears. As we sit up nice and tall, we're going to go into circle of joy. And I mentioned at the beginning, I said the positive emotion of joy. But even I'm trying to train myself to think about no positive or negative emotions. All emotions are welcome. But that good feeling of joy we can invite with us. So when we do circle of joy, let's think about that good feeling that we get in our hearts when we think about joy. We'll inhale those arms up, reaching up towards the sky, slight back bend, hands down to heart center. We'll have a deep inhale here, and on the exhale, we'll interlace our hands and push them forward, arching our back like a cat. Inhaling the arms up, maybe looking up, and exhaling them open, opening up that proud chest. Inhaling them together, interlace, exhale. Inhale as we reach for the sky, opening up, exhale. Inhale, interlacing cat, exhale. Inhale, reaching up for the sky. Exhale, opening up that proud chest. One more time. Inhale, exhale. Inhale. Exhale those hands behind the back, maybe interlacing them, maybe holding on to the sides of the chair. Looking up slightly, don't want to hyperextend that neck. We slouch and use our phones and our computers. So thinking about, instead of hunching forward, opening up that proud chest and breathing here. Great job, releasing that, shaking that out. Let's come up to standing. So coming up to standing here, let's think first about grounding into the earth. Thinking about our ankles being under our knees, our hips being above our knees, our shoulders being above our hips, opening up that proud chest. We're going to stand here in mountain for a few breaths, crown of the head up towards the sky, engaging all of the muscles in the body here, really being a strong mountain. Nothing can shake you. Maybe closing your eyes here. This can be a little bit of a balance pose too, with our eyes closed. And breathing. And on the next inhale, we'll sweep our arms up overhead into a slight back bend. Exhale, swan dive forward, and just hang here for a second in a ragdoll, maybe bending one knee and then the other, maybe moving our head side to side. Yes and no. And then coming up into our halfway lift. So a long spine, making contact somewhere on our legs, just not on our kneecaps. Crown of the head towards the front, looking down, engaging our core, engaging Mula Bandha. Take a deep inhale, and then we'll exhale, forward fold again. And then bending our knees as much as we need to, root to rise. Maybe think about scooping up energy to help energize us in our day and bringing it down to heart center. Great job. One more. Inhaling up, slight back bend. Exhaling, forward fold. Inhaling, halfway lift. Exhaling, forward fold. Inhale, root to rise, scooping up that energy. And hands to heart center. Great job. Let's shake that out. So any intuitive movements you want to do here to shake that out, if you want to come into willow tree, feet are a little bit more than hip width distance apart, rotating around side to side, maybe lifting the heel to help you get a little bit deeper into the twist. Great job. We'll slowly bring that to stillness. Feet under hips once more. Just a couple side bends. Grounding. We'll inhale up. Exhale the left hand down and reaching up and over with the right into a little bit of a flow. To the left. Going at your own pace. We like to move the spine in all 6 directions, side to side, front, back, right, left, every day, if you get a chance. Notice where the mind is going, bringing it back to the breath, what you can control, peace, love, hope within you. And next time you go over to that right side, coming back to center. Great job. Okay, let's come back down to the floor or a chair. If you want to use that blanket again to sit on, if you're on the chair, being on the edge of that chair, shaking out the legs here in staff pose. Activating those toes up towards the sky. If you're sitting on the edge of the chair, the heels will be on the ground, the legs will be long. Sitting up nice and tall here. Breathing. Strong core, shoulders down away from the ears. Maybe bringing one ear to one shoulder and then the opposite. And then we'll bring in the right knee and hold it. If you're in a chair, foot can be elevated. If you're on the ground, the same, or on the floor, foot flat on the floor. Sitting up nice and tall here. We'll hook our left arm around and twist to the side, looking out over that right shoulder if that feels good. Breathing. We'll slowly unwind, shake it out, bringing that left leg in. Foot can be hovering or down, sitting up nice and tall, engaging the labana, engaging that core, using the right hand to wrap around and bringing that left arm behind us. Breathing, activating that front foot. We'll slowly unwind here and shake it out. So thinking about if there are any movements that your body still wants to make before we slowly close out. This is actually the most important part of the practice, where we integrate what we learned and we work a little bit more on controlling that mind by quieting it. So moving a little bit here, however you would like, as we prepare for this final pose of relaxation, where we're going to do some guided relaxation as well as some silent relaxation. So if you are on a chair, coming to the back of it so you can have some really good support. If you are on the floor, you could use a wall to support you. You could do legs up the wall instead of having your back up against the wall, if that feels good. If you would love to lay down, I invite you to find space on your mat, clearing it to come down into a traditional Shavasana. Feet open to the sides of the mat, proud chest up towards the sky, hands open in a gesture of receiving. Wherever you are, gently closing your eyes or casting them downward, bringing that focus inward. And bringing your attention to the crown of the head. Letting all tension melt down the head and the face, as if a wave of relaxation is washing over your body from head to toe. Noticing that neck release, the proud chest soften, the shoulders melt down away from the ears, and any tension melts down the arms, past the wrists and palms and out through the fingertips. Bringing your attention back up to the shoulders where we hold so much stress, inviting those shoulder blades just to glide down the back as we release one vertebra at a time, down the upper back, middle back, and lower back. Our belly softens, our hips relax, and any remaining stress in the body melts slowly down our legs, past our ankles, past the feet, and out through our toes. And noticing here if there's anywhere in your body that's still holding any stress, and inviting with your breath or your thoughts just a little bit of relaxation. And maybe coming back to that idea, you can't always control what goes on outside, but you can always control what goes on inside. So now we come to our 2-minute silent meditation at the end of class. It's typical that your thoughts will wander to what you have to do in the future or what you did or didn't do in the past. But just noticing those thoughts, they pass by like clouds in the sky when you just allow them and release them and come back to your breath, come back to your word of love or peace. And the more you train your brain to come back to center on the mat, the more you can practice this off the mat in stressful times. So I'll ring a bell to take you into these final 2 minutes, and I'll ring a bell to bring you out. No need to rush when you hear the second bell. I'll gently guide you out to close the class. Slowly bringing yourself back to this place. Maybe gently wiggling your fingers and toes. If you're on the ground, maybe gently rolling over to one side and pausing. Maybe thanking yourself for being here today to give yourself that extra bit of self-love and care that we all so desperately need every day. And when you're ready, gently pushing yourself back up into a seated position, opening your eyes, sitting back in your chair, sitting tall, wherever you are. We'll inhale deeply and exhale. And on our next inhale, we'll raise those arms up overhead and exhale slowly down the midline with our hands together, pausing at our forehead as a reminder to think kind thoughts. Down to our lips as a reminder to speak kind words. And to our heart space as a reminder to do kind deeds. Not just for others, but most importantly, for yourself. It's my wish that you and all beings are happy, healthy, safe, and free. And until we meet again, I wish you peace. Thank you so much for sharing your yoga practice with me today. It has been my pleasure to be here with you today. I hope I will see you soon for classes. Please don't hesitate to reach out to me. vibrantwithvic.com. You can find me at vibrantwithvic on Instagram and Facebook. And don't forget to visit virtualvegfestlive.com. Thank you all so much. I hope you have a fabulous rest of your week. Until I see you again, much peace. Bye.